Well, good morning, MPC kids. So today we're talking about mental illness. Do you know what that is? Well, let's start with illness. Do you know what illness is? That's when you're sick, right? When some part of you is not feeling well. And we can see some of those things pretty obviously sometimes, right? If you get a cut or you break a leg or something, we can see that there's some sickness there. There's something wrong. Or when you have a cold and you're coughing and sneezing, or you have a runny nose, we can see those things. But mental illness, we can't always see unless we're looking really closely, because mental illness doesn't come out physically as obviously as a runny nose or a cut. It is when our thoughts and our feelings aren't working quite right, or we're just feeling really bad. We're feeling really sad or really anxious or nervous, or a word like depressed, which is feeling extra sad. It's when our thoughts and our emotions just aren't healthy, right? They're ill, they're sick. But we don't talk about those as much as we talk about our runny noses and our upset stomachs and our headaches, do we? Well, do you know in our house, one of the Hellman pets has mental illness. That's why you don't see her in the videos very often. Matilda, who's such a sweet dog, instead of being the calm puppy she was, she turned very anxious, and she would get very anxious for no reason. Do you know what anxious is? She'd get really nervous and afraid, even when there was nothing to be nervous or afraid of. And so now Matilda has that kind of fear with her all the time. And so when we're doing something, sometimes it just gets overwhelming for her. She's worried that she's in danger and she's always looking out, or even worse, she's worried that we're in danger, and that makes her really upset. And sometimes when we're filming, we don't know what sets it off, but she gets upset. And so instead we just let her go and chase a tennis ball or hold her tennis ball, and we don't make her film because we don't want the Hellman pets to have to film if they're not having fun with it. And so Matilda has really struggled with that, and she goes to a vet that helps us to help train her to feel more calm, and she also takes some special medicines that help the things in her brain to work a little bit differently. And you know, she's not the only one in the Hellman house that has mental illness. Her dad, my husband, Valentine, also has to struggle with mental illness, and he's going to tell you what that's like and what it feels like for him.
So mental illness means different things for different people. For me, I have depression, which means that sometimes I'm just sad for no reason. Nothing made me sad, I just feel sad. Other times, I also have anxiety. So sometimes I get nervous about something, or I'm afraid, and there's nothing to be afraid of. I just feel afraid. It's also like when you think there's something that you need to do, but you can't remember what it is, and you're trying to remember. That's another way being anxious and having anxiety feels. Just feeling like you're in danger and you're afraid, but there's nothing there that's making you afraid or making you in danger. It's just your brain sends the wrong chemicals to the rest of your body. So your heart will race like you're in danger, but you're not, because it's trying to send blood and other things to your body to help it fight or fly or run away. But there's nothing really there. It's just your brain sending the wrong chemicals to your body.
Could you understand a little bit maybe of what Val is feeling? Do you ever feel your heart racing when you get nervous? Or do you ever get really sad and it's hard to not be sad anymore? With Val or with Matilda, just doing the things that they love or help soothe them or relax them don't always make them feel better. That's why they need special doctors and special medicines. We call Val's doctor the talking doctor. It's a counselor that he goes to, and he gets to talk about all those feelings and emotions and the thinking in his head that he can't turn off. And that counselor helps him to retrain his brain, just like we have to retrain Matilda sometimes, to help him to learn how to calm his thinking down. And he takes special medicines too to help him with that. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's what we do, right? When we're sick, our families, our parents give us special medicine, and sometimes we have to go to the doctor or maybe even the hospital. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's a really good thing. And it's a really good thing. Just like we would tell our parents if we weren't feeling well with our stomach or we had a bad headache, it's a really good thing to tell them if we're feeling too sad or too scared or too nervous about something. because then they can help us get help headache. So will you do something for me today? Will you share how you're feeling about starting school or not starting school or starting distance learning in a couple weeks? Will you tell your parents how you're feeling about that? Maybe you're just fine with it and you're happy, and it's good to share happy feelings too, isn't it? But if you're even a little bit nervous, will you talk to your parents about that, or your grandparents or your aunts or uncles, or even your pastor or your youth pastor? Just talk to someone about those feelings, because maybe you need a little extra help with them. And that is a good thing, to get that extra help. We shouldn't feel ashamed about needing help with our thoughts or our feelings either, because those are part of our health. And we want to be healthy, don't we? And Jesus understands those feelings. In the Bible, we see places where he was really sad too. Really, really sad. And so God knows those feelings and he wants to hear about them. So maybe we can talk to Jesus about them too. And if we're too scared to tell an adult, maybe we can ask Jesus to help us, right? To give us the courage to share our feelings with someone else. But let's do that. Let's start doing that today. Let's tell Jesus how we feel. Let's tell an adult in our lives how we feel. And let's love the people around us, because all of us are feeling a little more anxious and sad than usual right now, aren't we? So let's share those feelings together, because that's why God gave us each other, isn't it? That's why he gave us our families, and that's why he gave us our church family too, so we could get through things together.